But what if that tiny, overlooked piece of copper was worth $2 million? That's not a fantasy. That's a real possibility that has collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters across America in a frenzy. This story begins in 2009, the year the United States Mint celebrated the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Four special designs were struck that year, each one honoring a different chapter of Lincoln's life. But hidden among them, buried in plain sight, was a coin that broke all the rules, a penny so rare, it defied every expectation of what a simple cent could be worth. No one expected it at first. The Mint released billions of 2009 pennies, most with tiny mint marks showing where they were made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. But then came a discovery, a 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark at all. No letter, no clue, nothing but the image of Lincoln himself, staring back at history. At first, people thought it was a simple error, a common fluke. But as collectors examined the details, the sharpness of the strike, the weight, the metallic composition, something strange emerged. These no-mint mark pennies weren't random mistakes. They were the result of a minting anomaly so precise, so limited, that experts couldn't agree on how many were ever made. Some say a few thousand. Others believe only a handful escaped into circulation. Now, imagine that. A coin so rare, you could hold one in your hand and not even know it. A coin that's been found in pocket change, rolled into bank wrappers, even handed out as loose change at grocery stores. And today, the most pristine examples, those untouched by time, free of scratches, showing the smallest details in Lincoln's coat and face, are being valued at up to $2 million by collectors desperate to own a piece of American history. Think about that for a second. You've probably handled hundreds of pennies in your life. You've tossed them into jars, paid with them, ignored them. But one of those tiny copper coins could be worth more than your house, more than your car, more than your retirement savings. The 2009 Lincoln No Mint Mark penny features Lincoln sitting on a log. This is known as the formative years design. Flip it over, and you'll see his early days in Indiana, studying by firelight, a young man destined for greatness. But here's what makes it special. No mint mark under the date. On regular coins, you'll see a small D or S. But on this one, nothing. Smooth and blank. That's your first sign. Next, examine the surface. The genuine no mint mark 2009 penny has a deeper luster, a slightly richer tone due to its unique copper plating. The edges are crisp, almost too perfect. Some versions even show minute differences in Lincoln's hand or the lines of the log, signs of a die variety that could make it even rarer. Experts recommend using a magnifying glass and bright light. Tilt the coin gently. Look at the date. Look beneath it. If there's no mint mark, not even a faint trace, and the details are razor sharp, you might just be holding a coin worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even over $1 million. But here's where the story gets truly mysterious. Some collectors claim these coins weren't supposed to exist at all, that a batch of experimental strikes was never meant to leave the mint, that someone, somewhere, let them out, either by accident or intention, and they've been circulating ever since. A quiet treasure hunt hidden in everyday change. People across the country have found them in unbelievable places. One man in Ohio discovered his inside an old coffee can of coins he'd been saving for decades. Another collector in California spotted one in a handful of change from a vending machine. Each story adds to the legend. Each discovery fuels the chase. And it's not just about money, it's about history. This coin represents a moment frozen in time, a tribute to Lincoln's journey from log cabin to presidency, and a symbol of how something small and overlooked can hold unimaginable value. It reminds us that fortune often hides in the ordinary, waiting for those who choose to look a little closer. Every few years, when one of these no mint mark 2009 pennies surfaces, the collecting world lights up. Dealers compete fiercely. Auctions explode with bids. News headlines call it the $1 million penny. And every time, the story captures the imagination of a new generation of collectors, dreamers searching for that one coin that could change everything. So, here's your challenge. Go grab your coin jar. Check every 2009 penny you have. Use a magnifying glass. Check the date. Check for the missing mint mark. You might think you're just looking through change, But what you're really doing is digging for history, for legacy, for a piece of America's hidden treasure. Even if you don't find one, the search itself connects you to a long tradition, a community of collectors who believe that the next great discovery might happen in an instant. That's the thrill, the mystery, the passion that keeps this hobby alive. And if you do find one, your life could change overnight. Imagine holding a coin that's been sitting in your drawer for years, suddenly realizing it's worth more than $1 million. Imagine the stories it's seen, the hands it's passed through, the quiet journey it's taken to reach you. That's the power of this coin. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It makes us look at the small things in life with new eyes. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures are the ones hiding right in front of us. Imagine this. You're holding a single penny in your hand. It's worn, dull, and ordinary, or so it seems. But what if I told you that a 1975 Lincoln penny, one without a mint mark, could secretly be worth over $1 million? A coin so rare, collectors are still searching every roll of change hoping to find it. Dealers are whispering about it behind closed doors. And the few who've seen one know they're looking at history, sealed in copper. Now take a deep breath, because this story isn't just about a coin. It's about luck, timing, and the possibility that something incredible might be sitting unnoticed in your home right now. It all begins in 1975. America was changing. The Vietnam War had ended, inflation was rising, and the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to perfect coin production. Every coin mattered. Every mint mark told a story. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, each one had its signature. But in 1975, a handful of Lincoln pennies somehow escaped that rule. They left the mint floor with no mint mark. No D, no S, nothing. Just Lincoln's profile and a date that would later drive collectors wild. For years, no one noticed. These coins blended perfectly with the billions of others in circulation. They were used in vending machines, tucked into piggy banks, passed over counters. Yet behind that missing mint mark lies a mystery that even experts still debate. Some believe they were test strikes, created by mistake during a die transition. Others say they were deliberate, special proof coins that slipped out before the official 1976 bicentennial run began. Whatever the truth, the absence of that tiny letter transformed an everyday penny into $1 million legend. Imagine being the person who finds one. You dump your change out on the table. Quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies scatter across the wood. And then you see it. A 1975 penny with no mint mark. Your heart skips. You lean closer, hands trembling. Could it really be one of them? Could you be holding something worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement? Collectors have spent decades chasing that same question. And it's not just rumor. Coins like the 1975 no mint mark penny have sold for staggering sums at private auctions, with verified examples commanding 6 and even 7 figures. One reportedly fetched over $1.2 million because of its pristine condition and flawless strike. It's the dream that keeps the hunt alive. Every coin hunter knows the next discovery could change their life. Let's go step by step, because the details matter. First, find a 1975 Lincoln penny. Flip it to the front, the obverse side. Focus your eyes right below the date, right there near Lincoln's shoulder. Normally, you'd see a small letter, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But on this one, there's nothing. Smooth, clean, untouched. That missing mark is the first clue. Next, check the condition. Even though circulation wear is common, the most valuable examples are sharp, with clear lettering and defined features on Lincoln's face. The fields, the flat areas, should be free of deep scratches or corrosion. Now turn it over. Look closely at the Lincoln Memorial. The details should be crisp, with visible stairs and columns. If it looks like an unusually strong strike for its year, that's another hint. Authentication. If you ever think you've found one, don't clean it, ever. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Instead, protect it. Place it in a soft coin holder, and reach out to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm authenticity and issue a grade. That grade, in the collector world, can be the difference between a few $100s and over $1 million. Most 1975 pennies you see will have a mint mark. The Denver D and San Francisco S are everywhere. Yet every year, new finds appear. Coins that shouldn't exist, quietly resurfacing from old jars, estate boxes, or inherited collections. One man in Ohio reportedly found his in a coffee tin left behind by his father. Another in Arizona discovered one wedged inside a desk drawer from the 1980s. These coins have stories, real stories, that connect generations. Think about that for a second. A simple penny, printed half a century ago, surviving decades of circulation, only to reveal its secret value today. It's more than just copper and zinc. It's a symbol of how extraordinary things can hide in plain sight. It makes you wonder, how many have slipped through our hands unnoticed? How many are still out there, waiting to be found by someone who finally looks close enough? Let's reset for a moment. Picture your own coin jar, that old one you haven't touched in years. What if inside it sits the very coin that's worth a fortune? What if that penny you've ignored since childhood could pay off your debts, buy your dream car, or send your kids to college? That's the thrill of numismatics, the chase, the hope, the discovery. Every collector knows the sound of possibility when loose change hits the table. Now imagine attending a coin show. Dealers gathered under bright lights, cases gleaming, whispers spreading like wildfire. Someone mentions a 1975 no-mint mark penny spotted in a private collection. Heads turn. Phones come out. Offers begin before the coin is even verified. That's the level of obsession this coin inspires. Because everyone knows how life-changing a $1 million penny can be, and it's not just about money, it's about legacy. Finding a coin like this means being part of a story that will be told for generations. It means your name could appear in coin journals, auction catalogs, even news headlines. Unknown collector uncovers $1 million penny. It sounds impossible until it happens. Let's go even deeper into what makes it special. The 1975 Lincoln cent is part of the Memorial Reverse series, struck from 1959 to 2008. Normally, every penny from that period includes a mint mark, except those struck in Philadelphia, which at the time did not use one. However, certain proof coins from San Francisco in 1975 were struck without their intended S. These are the true anomalies, the ones experts believe could reach that seven-figure value if discovered in perfect or near-perfect condition. These aren't random accidents. They're snapshots of history, moments when human error, machine precision, and timing intersected perfectly. That's what gives this coin its mystique. It's not just old, it's unique. A silent survivor of an age where one small oversight could turn metal into fortune. As the years go on, fewer of these coins remain. Some have been lost, melted, or damaged beyond recognition. But for those still in circulation or tucked away in forgotten drawers, their potential grows every year. The market for rare pennies has exploded. Collectors who once overlooked minor variations now pay premium prices for authenticity and rarity. So tonight, when the house is quiet, grab a small lamp and that jar of change you've been ignoring. Spread the coins out on the table. Start looking, slowly, carefully. Feel the texture, study the details, notice the tiny things you've never noticed before. Because somewhere, perhaps among the hundreds of pennies you've collected without thinking, a single one could hold a secret that's been waiting half a century to be discovered. That it's a hunt. It's a mystery. It's a dream within reach for anyone willing to look. And the best part? It's real. Ordinary people have found extraordinary coins before, and they'll do it again. Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand, one that could quietly change your entire life. A coin so common, so ordinary, that you might have spent it 100 times without thinking twice. But what if I told you that one of those 1967 Lincoln pennies, with no mint mark, could be worth up to $1.3 million? That's not a rumor. It's a reality known only by the sharpest eyes in the coin collecting world. That it all began in 1967, a year of change, confusion, and quiet chaos at the U.S. Mint. The country was shifting, the mint was overwhelmed, and for the first time in years, mint marks were completely removed from all coins. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, every mint struck coins without their identifying marks. Collectors were furious, but the mint had a reason. They wanted to stop what they called the coin shortage crisis. They didn't realize, however, that this one small decision would accidentally create one of the rarest and most valuable modern Lincoln pennies in American history. Somewhere between the ordinary and the extraordinary, a small batch of 1967 pennies was struck differently. a mysterious die variety, a near-perfect strike. And just like that, a coin meant to be worth 1 cent became a collector's dream. These pennies weren't meant to stand out, but under the right light, the difference becomes undeniable. Before we dive deeper, take a second and imagine, how many pennies have you handled in your lifetime? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe even tens of thousands. Somewhere in that pile of copper, $1 million penny could be hiding. That's the thrill of this hunt. Every collector knows it. One discovery can rewrite your story. It's not just about age. It's about perfection. Some of these coins were struck using experimental planchets, slightly different metal compositions that resulted in sharper details and a mirror-like surface. Others were minted with rare double die errors, creating faint doubling in Lincoln's date or the word liberty. These small, almost invisible imperfections can multiply the value by thousands, and in some rare cases, into the millions. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most people assume a penny from 1967 is just another coin. But experts have confirmed that a few near-perfect examples, preserved in flawless condition, have sold privately for staggering amounts, close to $1 million, sometimes even more. The key is knowing what to look for. Start by picking up your magnifying glass and examining the obverse side. That's Lincoln's portrait. Focus on his eye, his beard, and the date below his profile. If you see any doubling, even subtle shadows that make the numbers appear thicker, you might be holding a double die strike. Flip the coin. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Are the lines crisp, the steps clean and distinct? If so, you might have a proof-like strike, an error coin created unintentionally during minting. Every collector dreams of finding that one coin, the one that transforms them from casual hobbyist to legend. It's emotional because these coins are more than metal. They're history frozen in copper. The 1967 penny represents a moment in time when America itself was changing. The end of silver coinage, the Vietnam era, the age of uncertainty. Yet through all that, this tiny piece of metal survived, carrying hidden value far beyond its face. A man in Ohio once sold his ordinary-looking penny for over $50,000. Why? Because it was one of those near-perfect 1967 no-mint mark errors. He didn't even know until he had it appraised. Just imagine what that must have felt like. The shock, the disbelief, the realization that something sitting in his pocket for decades was worth more than his car, his house, even his retirement savings. Every few minutes, someone somewhere in America empties a drawer, opens a jar, and finds a penny that makes their heart stop. Could it happen to you? Absolutely. But you have to know what you're looking for. Wait. A genuine 1967 penny should weigh around 3.11 grams if it's made of copper. But some experimental strikes, known to collectors as transitional errors, come in slightly lighter. If your coin weighs under 3 grams, it might have been struck on a leftover planchet from another denomination, a serious rarity that can skyrocket its worth. Even tiny scratches, edges, and coloration can reveal secrets. Coins stored in dry, stable conditions keep their original red luster, and red, graded 1967 pennies are the most sought after. In pristine condition, some have fetched over $100,000 in auctions. Imagine what a flawless double die or transitional error could bring. This isn't fantasy. It's the hidden world of coin collecting, a world where ordinary Americans have struck gold by paying attention to the smallest details. The reason collectors obsess over minting errors is because they represent mistakes that shouldn't exist. Every rare coin tells a story of human imperfection, of machines pushing their limits, of history pressed into metal. But here's the twist. Most people who find these coins don't even realize what they have. They throw them back into circulation, unknowingly giving away a fortune. Think about that for a second. A penny someone used to buy gum in 1967 could now be worth over $1 million. The answer lies in authentication. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can determine the coin's strike quality, surface preservation, and originality. The highest grade ever recorded for a 1967 Lincoln penny is MS68RD, and those are worth hundreds of thousands. But an undiscovered MS69, or a unique error strike, could break the $1 million mark. And remember, there's mystery still unsolved. Collectors whisper about a small number of test strikes made at the San Francisco Mint, still bearing no mint mark, but with sharper reliefs, deeper fields, and proof-like surfaces. If one of those surfaces publicly, its auction could shatter every record known to modern numismatics. Imagine the moment you realize what you're holding. You drop your coin under the light, tilt it, and suddenly, you see it. The doubling, the shine, the perfection. Your pulse quickens. You know, that's the magic collectors live for. The moment when time freezes and the impossible becomes real. Coin collecting isn't just about profit. It's about the chase, the curiosity, the romance of discovering hidden treasure in the most ordinary place. Your coin jar could be a gold mine. Your childhood collection might hold a key to fortune. You just need to look closer. If you're hearing this, don't just listen, act. Go check your coins. Examine every 1967 penny. Look for sharp strikes, doubled letters, flawless fields. The rare ones are out there, waiting to be found by someone bold enough to look. The next time you see a dull copper penny lying on the sidewalk, remember this story. It could be history disguised as change. It could be the one coin that lifts you from collector to millionaire. A simple 1978 Lincoln penny. The kind you've seen thousands of times. The kind you've probably spent without a second thought. But what if one of those ordinary copper coins was a once-in-a-lifetime treasure? An unnoticed fortune lying right in your change jar. A collector in Illinois, sorting through a coffee can full of old pennies. He pauses, just for a second, noticing something slightly off. No mint mark. A strange shimmer under the light. A coin that shouldn't exist. That's where this mystery begins. The story of a 1978 penny that shocked the coin world and ignited a hunt worth over $1 million. Now take a breath, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you look at every single cent in your pocket. Most people think 1978 was a quiet year for pennies, just another chapter in the Lincoln cent's long history. But behind that unassuming date hides one of the most fascinating minting mysteries in American coinage. The Denver Mint and Philadelphia Mint were both producing millions of coins that year, but some coins escaped the process with missing details, struck on the wrong planchets, or minted without a mark at all. The 1978 penny with no mint mark, in certain rare conditions, is not a regular coin. Some were struck on experimental planchets, others on leftover copper blanks with unique die errors, making them one of the most valuable modern-era Lincoln cents ever found. Imagine flipping through a pile of change, your heart pounding, because you've just spotted a 1978 penny that looks slightly different. The color is a bit richer, the rim a bit sharper, and that tiny detail, the missing mint mark, is your first clue. But don't jump to conclusions just yet. Millions of 1978 pennies came from the Philadelphia Mint, and those also don't have a mint mark. The secret lies deeper, hidden in the fine print of die varieties, minting errors, and composition. Only a few rare 1978 pennies were struck on leftover copper planchets from the early 70s instead of the modern 95% copper/5% zinc blend. Those coins are slightly heavier, 3.11 grams instead of 2.5. That's your second clue. Hold one in your hand. Feel the weight. Compare it to another penny. If it feels heavier, thicker, or slightly off color, your pulse might start to race, because that's the sign of something extraordinary. A possible $1 million mistake. Think about this for a moment. One man found a 1978 penny with a double die reverse. Lincoln's memorial slightly doubled, barely visible to the naked eye. He sent it in for grading, just out of curiosity. Weeks later, the result came back. One of the rarest known die errors from that year. Offers poured in, $25,000, $100,000, then six figures. Within months, it was appraised at over $1 million. A coin you've held hundreds of times before, suddenly becoming your ticket to financial freedom. And yet, most collectors still overlook this coin. They chase the 1909 SVDB or the 1955 double die, but the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny remains one of the most quietly powerful finds in modern U.S. history. You start by looking closely. Under a magnifying glass, check the edges of the letters in Liberty. Look for doubling, thickened edges, or ghost-like shadows. Then examine the date. A faint doubling of the 9 or the 8 could mean you're holding a coin struck with a misaligned die. Now, tilt it under a bright light. If the surface looks almost liquid, if the copper tone glows rather than reflects, pause. Because you might be looking at a high-grade strike that survived decades without a single scratch. collectors pay insane premiums for condition. An uncirculated or proof like 1978 penny with these traits can easily soar into the hundreds of thousands. Combine that with an error or wrong planchet, and you're suddenly staring at $1 million masterpiece. The more you learn about this coin, the stranger it gets. Some experts believe a small batch of experimental blanks, meant for international coinage, was accidentally used at the U.S. Mint that year. Others think a rare die transfer from a prototype batch created a unique visual anomaly, something so subtle, it's invisible to anyone who isn't looking closely. These mysteries are what make coin collecting so electrifying. It's not just metal. It's history, art, accident, and fate, frozen in copper. And every few years, a new story surfaces. Someone finds an overlooked penny at a yard sale, a forgotten coin jar in an attic, a collection inherited from a grandfather who never realized what he owned. And suddenly, news breaks. A 1978 penny sold for a record-breaking price. Because each of these coins tells a story about precision, chance, and discovery. The U.S. Mint never intended for these to exist. But they did. And they're out there, waiting to be found by someone patient enough to look. Now picture your own collection. Maybe you've got an old coffee can of pennies tucked in the closet. Maybe a box of loose change you've never sorted. You could be one magnifying glass away from uncovering a fortune. And here's the emotional truth. This isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that something small and forgotten can suddenly change your life. That a simple cent, minted in 1978, could carry within it a story of error, survival, and value beyond comprehension. When you find one, it's like time freezes. You see Lincoln's face differently. You see the date not as a number, but as a mystery. And that little missing mint mark becomes a symbol, a reminder that treasures still exist in the most ordinary places. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that drawer full of change, look closer. Don't dismiss the old, dull pennies. Weigh them. Inspect them. Search for that missing mint mark, the doubled edges, the shimmer of perfection. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a handful of change, and realizing that one of those ordinary copper-colored pennies could make you a millionaire. Picture it, a single 1967 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, sitting quietly for decades, hiding in plain sight. To most people, it's just another old cent. But to a trained eye, it's the kind of discovery that can change everything. Because a rare error in this exact year has turned an ordinary 1-cent coin into a treasure worth up to $1.5 million. Now, before we dive into how to spot it, let's rewind the story, back to 1967. America was alive with change. The Vietnam War was raging, the space race was igniting dreams, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure like never before. Coin hoarding had exploded across the country, thanks to the disappearance of silver from circulating coins. To keep up, the Mint made a bold move. It removed mint marks entirely for 3 straight years: 1965, 1966, and 1967. Every cent produced in that time looked identical. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just one plain coin. Or so everyone thought. But here's where things get mysterious. Somewhere in that massive production run, a small batch of 1967 Lincoln pennies came out with a stunning, almost impossible set of characteristics. A unique strike, an experimental alloy mixture, and in some cases, a faint doubling on Lincoln's profile that defied the technology of the time. The result? A hidden variety, barely documented, that experts now believe to be among the rarest of all Lincoln cents. Imagine the feeling of holding one. The texture slightly different, the shine more golden than copper red, the weight faintly off by a fraction of a gram. For years, collectors dismissed them, until one surfaced at auction, sending shockwaves through the numismatic world. The hammer price? Over $1 million. And that was just the beginning. Every coin hunter knows that the smallest details separate the ordinary from the legendary. So here's what you need to look for. First, the strike. A genuine 1967 no mint mark error penny has an unusually sharp impression. Lincoln's cheekbone and jawline appear more pronounced than normal. Under magnification, you might see a subtle doubling around the word liberty and the date, especially the number 7. Some examples show a ghost-like second image that almost seems to shimmer when the light hits it just right. That's your first sign. Next, check the color. Most 1967 pennies are a standard copper tone, but the ultra-rare variety, the one worth 6 or even 7 figures, carries a slight bronze-gold tint. That hue comes from an accidental variation in the metal blend used during a short test run at the Philadelphia Mint. It's invisible to the naked eye in poor light, but under natural daylight, it glows. Flip it over and study the Lincoln Memorial. Look closely at the steps. On normal coins, the middle steps blur slightly into the base. But on the rare die strike, you'll notice something extraordinary. Perfectly separated, razor-sharp steps, as if engraved by hand. That precision is the giveaway that you're looking at a piece struck with experimental dies, never meant to reach circulation. Every year, new collectors stumble onto these coins by accident. They empty an old jar, sort through inherited change, or clean out a drawer, and there it is. That 1967 penny, no mint mark, gleaming under the dust of decades. Some have turned up in uncirculated rolls, untouched since the day they left the mint. Others have been found in ordinary coin piles worth only face value, until someone looked closer. One penny out of millions, surviving the chaos of 50 years, hiding quietly in your home, could be your ticket to $1 million payday. It's not fantasy, it's real. The last confirmed sale of a top-condition specimen reached the high 6 figures. Experts agree that a flawless one, in pristine proof-like condition, could easily break the $1.5 million mark if it hit the market today. But here's what makes the 1967 no-mint mark penny so fascinating. Unlike many rare coins, this one doesn't announce itself. There's no obvious error, no bold misprint, no wild color. It hides in subtlety. You have to feel it, study it, almost listen to it. The mystery lies in its quiet perfection. That's what makes collectors chase it. Not just the money, but the thrill of uncovering something no one else saw. Over the years, countless dealers have argued about the origin of this coin. Was it an intentional mint test? A misfed planchet batch? A secret proof strike that escaped inspection? No one knows for sure. The U.S. Mint archives remain silent, and the few experts who've handled authentic examples describe them with the same word: otherworldly. If you ever come across a 1967 penny that feels just a little different, heavier, glossier, sharper, don't dismiss it. Take a magnifier. Look at Lincoln's eye. Check the rim. A faint doubling or crispness in the letters could mean the difference between a common cent and a coin worth hundreds of thousands, even $1 million. Collectors who found them describe a strange rush, a heartbeat that quickens, a chill that runs down the spine. Because in that moment, you realize the truth. Sometimes, fortune doesn't come from chasing new opportunities, but from re-examining the ordinary things you already have. Think about how many 1967 pennies have passed through your hands, buying coffee, paying tolls, sitting forgotten in jars and drawers. One of them, right now, could hold a life-changing secret. And all it takes to uncover it is curiosity, patience, and a good light. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You don't need expensive equipment. All you need is the awareness that treasures still exist, not buried in the ground, but hiding in plain sight. So tonight, when the world quiets down, take a moment. Pull out your coin jar, spread those pennies under a lamp, and start looking closely. Because history has shown, again and again, that the rarest discoveries come when no one is expecting them. Collectors have built entire legacies on coins like this. One lucky find leading to a collection, a reputation, even a new life. The 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just metal. It's a story of chance, timing, and hidden fortune. And if you ever find yourself holding one of these elusive coins, remember, you're not just holding a piece of copper. You're holding $1 million mystery. Imagine reaching into your pocket for change and realizing one of those ordinary brown coins could be worth over $1 million. A simple 2016 D. Lincoln penny, something billions of people have handled, could secretly be the key to a fortune. This isn't a myth, and it's not a story from a collector's dream. It's the hidden reality of a coin that's taken the collecting world by storm. A coin so common, you'd never think twice before tossing it into a tip jar. But what if that very penny, the one you handed over for a cup of coffee, could have made you a millionaire? The 2016 D. Lincoln penny, struck in Denver, has a mystery that only the most observant collectors have uncovered. And once you know what to look for, you'll never look at your change the same way again. Before we dive into what makes this coin so extraordinary, let's rewind to its story. The year was 2016. The Denver Mint was in full operation, producing billions of Lincoln cents featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse. But somewhere in that massive production line, something went wrong. Or perhaps something went spectacularly right. A small batch of coins emerged with a striking flaw, a minting anomaly so rare that experts can't even agree how many exist. Those few coins became instant legends, trading hands quietly among collectors for staggering amounts. In some cases rumored to reach over $1.60 million. Let that sink in. A penny worth $1.6 million. It's hard to believe, but in the world of coin collecting, errors can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Just one small mistake in the minting process can turn a 1-cent coin into a national treasure. It starts with the details. Look closely at the D mint mark, that tiny letter just below the date. On the rare error coins, the mint mark appears slightly misplaced, tilted, or even doubled. Under magnification, you might see shadowing or an extra outline, a clear sign of a double die error. But that's not all. Some of these rare 2016 D pennies show a subtle distortion in Lincoln's I or the letters In God We Trust. It's as if the engraving itself carries a ghostly echo, frozen into copper-plated zinc. Every collector knows that tiny details separate a penny from a payday. You might think you need expensive equipment to find them, but all it takes is patience, good lighting, and a magnifying glass. When you tilt the coin under the light, pay attention to the way the date and lettering reflect. Any doubling, shadowing, or unusual sharpness could mean you're holding something worth thousands, or even over $1 million. Imagine the excitement of realizing that something you've overlooked for years might hold unimaginable value. It's happened before. In the past, rare error coins have surfaced in circulation after decades of being ignored. Someone cleaning out a change jar or sorting through old drawers suddenly spots something unusual, and their life changes overnight. Now, here's where the suspense deepens. Collectors and dealers have been fighting quietly behind the scenes to get their hands on these 2016 D errors. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars. Prices climb into the tens of thousands instantly. And for the few pristine examples graded by top coin certification services, values soar into six figures and beyond. Rumors swirl of one perfect specimen selling privately for nearly $1.6 million. Because rarity and condition rule the market. Out of billions of 2016 D pennies struck, only a microscopic fraction carry the flaw. Add in the fact that most people never even look at their pennies, and you have a perfect storm for hidden fortune. That's why experienced collectors always say, check your change. Let's pause for a moment. Look at a penny in your hand. Think about how many times coins pass through countless hands, pockets, registers, and jars. The idea that one of those small copper discs could secretly be worth more than a mansion is almost surreal. Yet it's real. It's happened before, with the 1955 double die penny, the 1943 copper cent, and the 1983 double die reverse. And now, the 2016 D Lincoln penny joins that list of legends. But here's the part most people miss. These coins don't just hold monetary value. They hold a piece of American history. Each error tells a story of human craftsmanship, of machines and metal, of a nation's legacy minted into every detail. When you hold one, you're touching a mystery born in the heart of the Denver Mint. Every collector who's ever chased a dream knows this feeling. The heartbeat quickens, the eyes scan every detail, the what-if running wild in your mind. What if this is the one? What if that penny you just found on the ground is the missing treasure everyone's been searching for? That's the magic of numismatics. It transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary possibilities. Now, let's reset for a moment. Take a deep breath. You might think this is all hype, that no modern penny could really be worth millions. But consider this. The coin market today is stronger than ever. With online auctions and collectors' forums buzzing with activity, even the smallest discoveries go viral. A single verified 2016 D error penny could trigger a wave of attention and a flood of offers. The right buyer could easily push that value into seven figures. Make sure it's from 2016 with a clear D mint mark under the date. Step 2. Under bright light or with a magnifying glass, check for any doubling in the date, the mint mark, or the letters Liberty and In God We Trust. Step 3. Inspect Lincoln's eye and jawline. A double die error often creates a faint duplicate outline. If you notice anything unusual, don't clean the coin. Handle it carefully by the edges and get it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm its authenticity and assign a grade. And that's when the true value is revealed. Remember, coin collectors across the US are constantly searching for the next great discovery. The 2016 D-penny might not be the most obvious candidate, but that's exactly why it's such a thrilling secret. Hidden value thrives where nobody's looking. There's something poetic about it. How a coin meant for everyday life, exchanged for small purchases, could hold the power to change someone's entire future. It's the ultimate reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old coffee jar filled with loose change, take a moment to really look. Examine each coin, because the next great American treasure might already be in your hands. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's copper. And yet, this small 1968 Lincoln penny without a mint mark has sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. Let's start with a question. How many pennies do you have lying around your house right now? Maybe in a drawer, a jar, or that old coffee can in the garage. What if one of those plain, brown coins was the key to a fortune? Because that's exactly what happened to a man who almost threw his life-changing coin away. Back in the late 1960s, America was in the middle of change, a new era, a new economy, and new coins being minted. But in 1968, something unusual happened. The United States Mint was switching its designs, adjusting its minting process, and somewhere between the machinery and the presses, a small mistake was made. A penny without a mint mark, a coin struck in Philadelphia, but unlike any other, slipped into circulation. At first glance, it looked identical to every other Lincoln cent. But for collectors who know what to look for, it's a treasure worth more than $1 million. Imagine holding that coin and not realizing its value. Imagine buying a soda with it, handing it over, watching it vanish forever. That's the tragedy of rarity. Most people never realize what they have until it's gone. Here's where the mystery deepens. Normally, pennies struck in San Francisco in 1968 bear an S mint mark. Denver has a D, but this one has none. No mint mark at all. You'd think that means it came from Philadelphia, right? But here's the twist. In 1968, not all Philadelphia coins were supposed to lack the mint mark. There's more to the story, and the deeper collectors dig, the stranger it gets. Decades later, a handful of sharp-eyed numismatists began to notice something off. These no mint mark pennies had sharper details, crisper lettering, and a unique die strike. Unlike typical Philadelphia issues, the metal composition also revealed clues. Some coins showed a slightly different tone in the copper, hinting they might have been struck with experimental planchets, or even dies that were never meant to be used in public circulation. Now, let's pause and reset, because I want you to picture your own hands holding a small, dull 1968 penny. You flip it over. You see Lincoln's proud profile on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the other. But as your eyes focus just below the date, you realize something's missing. No D, no S, just the date, 1968. That's when your heart starts to race. Could this be one of them? Collectors say the first time they spotted one, they didn't believe their eyes. They thought it was worn, or scratched, or damaged. But when they examined it under magnification, the absence of a mint mark wasn't from wear, it was from design. And that's when they knew they had something extraordinary. The emotional story of discovery repeats again and again. Ordinary people, retirees, mechanics, teachers, finding one coin that changes everything. A widow cleaning out her husband's coin jars. A man searching through his childhood piggy bank. The realization always hits the same way. Disbelief, then shaking hands. Then that incredible moment when an expert confirms it's real. 1968. Look closely below the date on the front of the coin, just above the rim. You should see either a small D or S. But if you see nothing, absolutely no mint mark, do not assume it's worthless. Next, examine the lettering and Lincoln's portrait. Genuine rare pieces show sharper details, a stronger strike, and even slightly deeper shadows in Lincoln's hair. Under good light, the copper might appear richer, slightly more reddish. Now, for verification. Flip the coin over. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. On the rare 1968 no mint mark variety, the base of the memorial steps will appear slightly thicker, and the engraving lines between the pillars are crisp, sharper than most regular circulation coins. That precision hints at the different die used. You can check its weight too. It should come in around 3.11 grams if it's a copper-based coin. Some fakes are lighter, made from plated zinc, so use a sensitive scale. And if it passes those tests, you could be holding something worth $1 million or more. Some experts believe a limited number were struck as test coins, prototypes for die calibration. Others suspect a mint worker intentionally released a handful, never expecting they'd surface decades later. The truth may never be known, which only adds to the coin's legend. Imagine the journey that coin took, from the mint press, to a cashier's drawer, to someone's pocket, through years of trades and purchases. Maybe it sat in a jar for decades. Maybe it passed through generations. And now, 57 years later, it's the most sought-after penny of the era. Ordinary penny found in kitchen drawer sells for over $1.7 million. You click the article. You see the photo. Same year, same design as the coins you've seen every day of your life. The only difference is one tiny missing mark. That's it. That's all it takes to turn change into fortune. And that's the heart of coin collecting. The dream that something small, overlooked, forgotten, could be priceless. Every collector starts with curiosity. Every treasure starts with someone who decides to look closer. Now imagine yourself under a lamp, a magnifying glass in hand, a pile of old coins spread out before you. One by one, you inspect them. Most are ordinary. A few are interesting. But then, you spot it. 1968, no mint mark. Your pulse quickens. You turn it under the light. Could this be the one? Collectors who found it say that moment changes them forever. Because it's not just about the money. It's about possibility. It's proof that the extraordinary can hide in the ordinary. If you want to check your coins, focus on pennies from the 1960s, especially 1968 through 1970. The mint mark location is always right below the date. Keep an eye out for perfectly clean surfaces where a mint mark should be. Any scratches, dents, or signs of tampering usually mean it was altered. The genuine ones look smooth and natural. You might think, why hasn't everyone found one by now? The answer is simple. Most people don't look. Millions of pennies go unnoticed, tossed into circulation, never examined. But a few sharp-eyed collectors, the ones who take the time, they're the ones who get rewarded. Hidden wealth doesn't always glitter. Sometimes it's copper, sometimes it's dusty, and sometimes it's sitting right in front of you. The 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of discovery, of patience, of the American dream tucked inside something as small as a cent. So the next time you pick up a handful of change, take a second look. Tilt it under the light. Study that date. Check for that tiny missing letter. Because history has a way of hiding in plain sight.